You are up, Commissioner.
All right, Bannock County Commissioners are back in session. I'd ask for a motion to go ahead and open the public hearing.
Mr. Chair, I move that we open the budget public hearing as posted.
We have a motion. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Okay. So this is a public hearing for fiscal year 2025 budget. This hearing is for public comment, and it's not a question and answer session. Only one person may speak at a time. No one signed up to speak, so we'll just go ahead and start the public hearing. Christy?
We had a couple of changes that occurred prior to today's meeting. We discovered that we had missed $480 in a cell phone stipend within the commission department, so we moved $480 from extra help and put that money into the cell phone stipend in the commission budget. A budget did not change. On juvenile probation, we missed 3 salary increases that should have occurred within a budget, and a 4th in a different probation office.
Excuse me.
Are your microphones on? I'm sorry, a little hard of hearing. I can't hear anything.
Go ahead and come up to one of these chairs off to the side here then.
That's dangerous for me to get up here too close.
He didn't say he meant to, he didn't know he had to sign up. He does want to say something.
We'll see where we get, okay? All right.
Thank you.
All right.
I'll start over so you can hear what I said. This Christy Clauser, Comptroller. We had one change within the Commission A budget. We moved $480 from extra help into cell phone stipend because we missed one of those. A budget did not change. Within Juvenile Probation Department, we had 4 salary line items that needed a step increase that I missed. We moved that money from B budget, so the overall department budget for juvenile probation county did not change bottom line. Other than that, those were the only changes from the commission proposed that was published to what is being reviewed today.
I'll go ahead and allow you a couple of minutes. State your name.
My name is Jim Morphy, and I'm retired, and I speak a little bit on behalf of all those retirees out there who are on a fixed income. So I just wanted to say that, you know, I noticed in the paper simply that they needed to increase salaries, and I have no reason to believe that those salaries aren't deserved. I think it's always not a good look to raise taxes to increase salaries. It's not a good look, but it may be a necessary look. But when I go around the community, and I've been in real estate for over 50 years, and I see all the new house construction, the new apartments, the new homes and stuff, but over 50 years I've always said, well, I'm glad to see this increase in tax basis because hopefully it'll mean a decrease in my taxes. I've been disappointed every year in the last 50, so I wonder how it is that we get so much increase in tax base, and I don't know what it is, haven't seen the numbers, but it's got to be significant. And that's not enough to cover the increase in some deserved salary increases and that sort of thing. So I always wonder how much government is paying attention to consolidation rather than duplication. I always wonder about that. I don't have any conclusions, and I'm not the smartest guy in the room, so I would like to know a little more about what the county has done to conserve, to at least on the county side, and we haven't even heard from the city yet, so I'm concerned about that. They probably will take notice if you want to increase taxes on the county basis. You know, that tax district may want some too, so we never know because we get it in parcels exactly what the tax bill is going to be at the end of the year. So those are just some of the things I'm concerned about. And like I say, I have my own observations regarding duplication of equipment and services that are out there, and wondering why no one seems to want to look at consolidation and move forward with something that's a little more effective and cost effective. So that's
Okay.
my main concern.
Okay,
about
thank
this
you.
year.
Like I said, this is not a question and answer session, but we'll give each of the commissioners an opportunity to make a statement on the budget as they feel. Jeff?
I'd
John?
let John go first on that one, because I think.
No, you guys go ahead.
Were you done with your update?
Yeah, those were the only changes that we had from the commission proposed.
Okay. Well, I appreciate your comments, and I feel like every year for the last 3 years that I've been here, we've worked very hard to hold the budget as flat as possible and minimize the taxpayer impact. And to a certain extent, that's to our own detriment at the county, and to a certain extent, it's worked out okay. This year, it kind of came down to, do we provide some of these increases in some salaries, or do we cut back on paving of roads? And we didn't feel like it was a smart idea to cut back on paving of roads, because right now the county is in pretty good shape, I think, and so I'm pretty happy with that. The other thing I'd like to talk about is the salaries. We put together a compensation group this year that spent 6 months looking at the salaries in the county. We compared them with 5 other surrounding counties that are very similar to ours, and we identified some areas where we are substantially underpaying our people compared to surrounding counties. The sheriff can talk to that with the trouble they have maintaining deputies. We have people throughout the county that are constantly leaving to get higher paid jobs somewhere else. And so an example like we talked about was the attorneys this year. And it's a statewide problem with the attorneys, but we are, again, on the very low end of paying our attorneys, our prosecuting attorneys. So that group identified some hot spots for this year and for next year and for the following year that we're going to try to address each year and put together a 3-year plan to take care of some of those inequities that we have to bring us up to more competitive. Because what we have found, and again, I'm going to use the sheriff as an example on this, it costs us, what, $10,000 or $12,000 minimum to turn over a deputy out there. And so that turnover becomes very costly. And we have that in a lot of positions throughout the county. So we've put together a 3-year plan to address some of that. And this year, while we didn't get everything that we needed or that we wanted, we took a step forward, and I was very happy with that work. And I feel like we're headed in the right direction. So I'm very pleased with the budget. I want to thank all of the departments for their efforts in putting it in. Also want to thank the clerk and their staff for the many, many hours putting in and adjusting based on things we talk about. So while nobody wants to hear their taxes going up, I certainly don't. I mean, I pay my taxes like the rest of you. But at some point in time, it's just part of what we've got to do. And so I feel like we did a good job keeping it as low as we could, but accomplishing what we needed to do.
Okay. Anything, John?
Yeah. My number one priority has always been the taxpayer. I'm the newest commissioner. I've only been here a little over a year. Last year, when we had the budget, we were able to actually reduce the taxpayer portion of spending. So on your last year tax bill, if you look at the county, compared to the previous year, you would have seen a reduction. And this year, we weren't able to do that. As Commissioner Huff indicated, there were some significant issues, and I've seen these issues even before I was elected, where we had people that were really grossly underpaid, undercompensated for the work they did. We had very much difficulty in hiring for certain positions, and that included the prosecutors, the sheriff's department, road and bridge, our operators, mechanics. Everybody over the last 3 years has suffered the brunt of inflation and the policies out of the federal government, which have impacted not just the average citizen, but they've also impacted our employees. At some point, that had to be addressed. And this year we did address it, and we gave some raises in places that were very much needed. Now, we didn't give everything that I think probably it would have been good to have done, because we do have to take into consideration what's the cost of the taxpayer and also taking care of our employees and having the people to get the job done for the taxpayer. So for the taxpayer, there's 2 components: doing the work that the county's required to do by them to maintain the services. And part of that, a component of that, is paying our employees enough to have good employees and to retain them. And at the same time, not overly burdening the taxpayer. I think our taxpayer increase this year was about a little over 1%, 1.25% or something like that.
I didn't bring that with me, sorry.
I'm sorry?
I did not bring that with me.
So by law, we could have increased the taxes quite a bit more, and we didn't. All of us commissioners are concerned about making sure we're providing good services, taking care of our employees, but also taking care of the taxpayers. I wish we could have had a flat budget again this year, but it wasn't to be. And I think we did do a good job as far as trying to balance those two competing interests.
Thank you. And I just agree with both commissioners and with the assessor's office. The process of going through this is we get the budgets in from each department, their asks, and then we go line by line. Every ask that they have, we go line by line and look at that. And then the clerk goes down and they go through again, go line by line, and the discussions that we'd had together, they go and have with the different departments again and say, okay, we're not going to be able to do this. What is your choice? What do you really want and need? And so we look at duplication, we look at repetitiveness and everything, and it is quite a process. It was an eye-opener to me to go through all these processes that we do. And it's like John says, I've been here going on 6 years now. We have never in 6 years taken the 3%. We've never done that. And a lot of years we've done 0 or 1%. And so when it comes to budget and taxpayers, we are very all in the same boat, rowing the same direction, trying to compensate for our employees and give them the best that we can, but also trying to protect the taxpayer. And so I can say that I can be proud. We can be proud of the work that we do because we take it all take it very serious. We are, like Jeff said, we're all taxpayers. And it's very concerning to us. But I can say that Bannock County is a great county. We've grown. Our roads, there's so many more roads and subdivisions going in that our road and bridge, I mean, they're covering more ground now than they've ever covered. They're doing more than they've ever covered. The sheriff's office, we have contracts with every small city, and they're out there, and positive comments are coming back. So I'm proud of every department we have. Whether you're going over the assessors or over the treasurers or to the coroner, I mean, nobody wants to go to the coroner. I'm sorry. But the bar has been raised in Bannock County, and I say that we have the best employees. I go to a lot of meetings in the state, and Bannock County is well represented. So I am proud of what we do and the efforts that we put in. And so, as Jeff said, I would like to thank our staff. I was going to give Caitlin 15 minutes, but I won't do that. But Caitlin, Christy, and Jason, there's a lot of work and a lot of effort that goes into this. And Nancy sits over here and takes care of all of us. So we just have great people. And so we do have to compensate them some. And never enough. I'll just tell you that for the amount of work that they do. Jason, any comments?
I would echo that. I apologize for being late. I was on a phone call with the Secretary of State. It's nice to feel supported in the county and know that we are all rowing the same direction. I feel like we're a county where we're a good happy medium in size and in the quality of our services, where yeah, we did take a little bit in taxes, but not all that we could or should, and so that's a good thing. We're maximizing our dollars. I feel like we're maximizing the dollars that we did take, and we're always going to continue to do that.
I really appreciate those comments, and I believe that the personnel is the most important investment in any organization. And having good personnel and keeping good personnel has got to be a top priority. The thing, and I assume that your net budgets are increasing every year. What I'm trying to get in my own mind is the balance of, if the tax basis keeps going up, which obviously is, do you just cover, typically if you want a flat budget, you're just increasing the amount that you'll get from the new tax base? Is that how you balance that out?
We average them, but in that same conversation, there's been 20% inflation in the last couple of years.
Right.
Our insurance has gone up by 22 to 24%. And so, yeah, that's why we've been able to hold things kind of level, is because part of the tax base, but also everything else has gone up in
You know
price.
what-
Okay, I'm gonna shut you down there,
Okay.
because it's not a back and forth between us, and so. Motion to go out of the public hearing, please.
Mr. Chair, I'd move that we exit the public hearing.
We have a motion, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Motion or further discussion on what has been said, or a motion on accepting the 2025 budget?
I'd just like to make one more comment, and John and I have talked about this a couple of times, about looking for places we can cut the budget and reduce some of those expenses, and I got to give John some credit for going through really with a fine tooth comb, trying to find places we can do that. And John, you want to speak to that? You're okay with where we're at? You think we're operating pretty well?
You know, I've always would like to see it flat or reduced, always. That's not always possible. And unfortunately, as I mentioned earlier, the policies that we're seeing at the federal government, at the federal level, are killing everybody. Inflation is out of control, and we're subject to that. Our employees, our expenses are subject to that. To maintain the same level of service, unfortunately, this year, we did have a slight increase. I never like to see that. I was thrilled last year that we had a decrease, but I still think we have a lot of ground to make up. We could have justified taking more tax money to take care of our employees more than we did. These are difficult decisions for everybody. You have these competing interests. I'm in favor of this budget. As much as I would have liked to see it flat, I just did not see a way, and Jeff is right. I went through this budget line by line and looked for everywhere I could to cut. And the places I found where I could have cut to keep the budget flat would have meant a reduction in services for the citizens of the county. So I'm in favor of approving this budget.
Okay.
One more thing I'd like to add is I really appreciate the work of our clerk, Jason Dixon, and our comptroller and her staff. They, as always, do a fantastic job.
Thank you.
Did you need a minute? Okay. A motion?
Mr. Chair, I would move that we approve the 2025 fiscal budget as posted.
You have a motion, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. And with that being said,